Number one, know what I'm saying? Number one, know what I'm saying? We are the Law Talk with my crew. Number one, know what I'm saying? 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 There is no schedule at Law Talk Nation. You can only pay, get a notification. If you're lucky, it's a spicy fornication. It's another day on Law Talk with Mike. We got preacher on the dial, planning always make your chest smile. The pros say can't ever share a file. Defendants are always in denial. He was not driving, he's traveling. His reasons and facts are unraveling, unraveling. It's another day of Law Talk with Mike. Crossroom is always popping up. You have a failure appear and you scoff. Judge Simpson is never going soft. Webster is always showing off. We are heading into that soft six summer. Did you miss the line? That's a bummer. The soft six never gets smarter than dumber. He's not the man, he doesn't need a number. He was not driving, he's traveling. His reasons and facts are unraveling, unraveling. It's another day of Law Talk with Mike. Courtroom is always popping off. You have a failure to appear and you scoff. Number one, know what I'm saying? Number one, know what I'm saying? We are the Law Talk with my crew. Number one, know what I'm saying? 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 Number one, know what I'm saying?
This is crazy.
Ma'am, are you a whore? You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again. Sweet Jesus.
You're not a whore? Not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
It gets worse.
There were drugs involved that were given to me that ended up being glue. Like, I smoked some glue and stuff. I thought I was smoking crack.
Let's go.
You didn't say the cat jumped on his wiener, did you? Sit down and shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up. Cat jumped on his wiener. Cat jumped on his wiener. Shut up.
Can you just let this go for once? For once? Once?
Okay, that being no.
I never want to hear it again.
Are you a whore?
Mr. Sharks.
Not a whore?
Mr. Sharks. Mr. Sharks. Mr. Sharks.
Everybody's a kidnap.
You're not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
You're not a whore? You're not a whore?
I never want to hear it again.
Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong.
Judge Simpson will tell you that being alone, need yourself one question, are you a hoe? Mr. Shots, oh Mr. Shots, oh where did you go? We have questions like on the weekends, do you work selling burritos? The Law Talk with my crew, we're here to laugh at you. We see you in court acting all tough. Your soul says citizen life must be so rough. Without getting into further details, there were drugs involved. I thought I was smoking crack, but it was just glue that dissolved. Oh man, I gotta get it together because wow, that was messed up. And your honor, I have IBS, and I'm bleeding inside, and it's really been rough. The law talk with my crew, here to laugh at you. We see you in court acting all tough. Your soul says citizen life must be so rough. And now Kinky Kelly is shacked up in bed with the frugal. Then the cat jumped on his wiener and started causing trouble. Love exciting and new. We are and always will be. The law talk with my crew. The law talk with my crew. We see you in court acting all tough. Your soul says citizen life must be so rough. Without getting into further details, there were drugs involved. I thought I was smoking crack, but it was just glue that dissolved. Oh man, I gotta get it together because wow, that was messed up. And your honor, I have IBS, and I'm bleeding inside, and it's really been rough. The law talk with my crew, here to laugh at you. We see you in court acting all tough. Judge Simpson.
All right, we're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603. Can I get appearances for counsel for the record, starting with counsel for the state?
William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone. Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Can we get the evidence projection system up and can we test it before we
Yes.
go live?
Yes, sir. If you want to test it out, Mr. J.
Call 1 at 12:59 p.m. with a GMT offset of -300 minutes. Call on month.
And do you have a job when you're not in custody?
Yes, I do have a job.
Where do you work?
Yeah.
Where do you work?
Oh, I work, I sell burritos sometimes.
Call 1 at 12:59 p.m. with a GMT offset of -300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
That is the best I can do, sir.
Are we listening to audio that we can't hear? Is that what's going on here? Am I going to have to reenact it? All right, let me see what I can do to fix this audio.
Okay. All right. Anything else, state, we need to address?
Not this time, Your Honor.
Defense.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Just in the spirit of full disclosure, there are some persons behind me to my right and my left. I run the mock trial program at Barry University School of Law here in town, and these are some of my students as a member of that program, so they're here just simply to observe. So pay no mind or attention to them. With that, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. All right, let's stand and bring in our panel.
Behavior in this case is disgusting.
Jury entering.
Some people call me the space cowboy.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury? Yes. All right, y'all can be seated. Thank you. Members of the jury, good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. If you could, again, by a show of hands, confirm that you complied with the court's instructions that we gave prior to the break. Record reflect all jurors' hands have been raised. With that, the state is going to continue with their evidence presentation this afternoon. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Brian Boone.
Thanks for showing up again.
Mr. Boone, raise your right hand and be sworn, please. If you swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You could be seated. After seated, if you could please state and spell your name for the record for us.
Brian Boone, B-R-I-A-N-B-O-O-N-E.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Oh my God.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old was that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage with the defendant last?
No, it did not.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time, when was your divorce actually finalized?
Maybe it was 2006. I think the divorce was 2017. I believe.
And after your divorce, what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common with the defendant?
She was supposed to have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
Oh, he's throwing off big
So
simp
1 week
vibes for
you would
sure.
Have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, did you have, do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
You haven't met my ex.
Well, apparently, Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Yeah.
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
George Torres.
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call
Maybe.
the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
Give her time.
And why was it that you were calling?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try to find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
I think it was like 12:30 or something.
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30.
Yes.
On 2/24/2020.
Yes.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
How long did it take you to arrive at her residence?
From the first phone call, or?
Yes, from the first one.
Well, I mean, I live a minute or two drive away, but I had to get my puppy. We had just gotten a puppy recently. I had to get him in his crate and stuff like that and put something on because I was working from home. And, total time, maybe 10 minutes.
when you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
I mean, George was dead, and once again, I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep. But I, at that time, told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911.
Yes.
He wasn't. He had a boa.
Did you go inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes, I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so.
Did you talk with law enforcement?
I did.
I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
We want to reserve our questions for when we call in our case.
Okay. All right, sir. You're subject to recall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as long as he remains under subpoena.
My understanding is subject to recall.
So somebody will contact me.
The most telling thing about that for me
Thank you, sir.
was in his testimony, he says that, we were playing hide and seek and he's dead in a suitcase. And that didn't really strike him as
Let
odd.
me call your next witness.
He's like, well, okay, that sounds
Yes.
like you. Let me put something on and come over. Oh, she would have if she could have. I want to know why they ever got married. I mean, that applies to everyone, but even more so in this case.
Members of the jury, we'd appreciate your patience for a few moments while the state attaches a Bluetooth speaker so that they may publish some evidence that's been received so far. Mr. J, whenever you're ready, sir.
Permission to publish 3.
You may do so.
It's 300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
4748 Brent Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brant, Brantd. And the appointment number? 3. Is this a police or medical? My boyfriend is dead. Okay, send the line for the fire department, do not hang up.
Location emergency.
No, please don't leave. 4748 Brent Lane, apartment 3, Brent Court. Brent Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, okay.
It's still with Park Apartment.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I played him in a case and we were playing. And, but kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting out of the All right, okay. Okay,
Now?
Okay, 40, yeah, man, this is we're on our way up there. Yeah, 407-716-8684. Okay, you hanging from somewhere or what, man?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is he working there? 42-year-old man. All right. Okay, we're setting up on the sheriff's office out there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this. No, right, I just need to confirm this. You see you're awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay, well,
nothing happened. He's purple.
okay, listen, you did the defense of the bill. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
And is he available?
No.
All right, are you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, listen, okay, ma'am, listen, so listen, is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff.
Right, okay. All right, now to me, listen, I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows, okay?
Yes, I did.
All right, okay, wait.
Stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen, okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put compression to him, okay? All right? If you look your hand on his breastbone, right in center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your hand on top of that hand.
Ready, I'm telling you. Just like my hand and tell.
Okay.
Please, okay, you're girls.
Okay, listen to me. All right, I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones. Put your other hand on top of that hand. We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to live twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nice to me.
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting. Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep up the chest. Count out, I can count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay. Begin pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing the concept.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting as fast as they can along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm not doing it. I'm doing it, okay? We're playing hide and seek.
All right, I understand. All right, just keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
All right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
All right, okay, good. And you found them in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
All right, just keep on pumping the chest until they get over,
I
okay?
am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Come in. Can I stop something now?
Let that take over for you, okay?
When was the last time anybody saw him? The last time. We were playing hide and seek. He was in the container. Unfortunately, he's been down too long to tell him to record him. Hello, ma'am.
And so we're there, obviously.
No, my boyfriend. Is your boyfriend? Okay. Is your little boy? No, not that. Hello?
Hey, man, is this time to take care of you, okay? Yeah, so we'll see you there.
All right. Oh, ma'am, is still there? Hello? Calling back 407-716-8684, reference to mobile data. 1308.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 4.
We're ready to continue with the presentation of witnesses.
Yes, sir. You may call your next witness.
State we call Abraham Moreno.
That was just awful. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Moreno, raise your right hand and sworn to be swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I affirm.
Sir, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Abraham, Abraham, last name is Moreno, Moriana.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm a maintenance supervisor for apartment complexes.
Is that what your position was back in February of 2020?
Yes, it was.
And what apartment complex?
Tealwood Park Apartments.
And how long did you work for Tealwood Park Apartments?
About 2 years.
And tell us, what were some of your duties in your position there with Tealwood Park?
Daily, I cleaned the grounds, walked the property, answered maintenance calls, did emergencies, dealt with vendors.
Did you become familiar with the residents there at the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case and also a George Torres?
Yes.
Let me turn your attention to February 24th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And tell us, what was the circumstances in which you came into contact with her on February 24th, 2020?
I was called by the manager and the assistant manager to come to her unit. I believe she was already sitting outside at that time.
And when she was sitting outside of her unit, what, if anything, did you observe about her and about the unit?
The police was there. Her ex-husband was present. She was sitting outside, and that's when she decided she wanted to talk to me and the managers.
And what did she tell you?
That she's confused. She's not exactly sure what happened. She pointed out that she recalls that they were playing a game of hide and seek. There was an instance where you were going to teach him a lesson, and then she just doesn't recall anything else until the next morning.
Did she say she fell asleep?
Yes, she did.
Did she say things got out of hand?
I don't really recall that part, but I do recall her stating that they were playing their game and that George went into a suitcase, and I didn't ask any questions. I just let her talk for herself.
How long was this conversation?
For about 4 or 5 minutes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This conversation that you had with Miss Boone,
Yes.
that took place on the 24th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And who else was present on the time that the conversation was taking place?
Standing right next to me would have been Melissa Sexton and Eugene Harris, as well as the officer who was in front of the door.
Okay, so there was a law enforcement officer there that day, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, on the 24th is when you said that Miss Boone made this statement to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
They were playing hide and seek?
Yes.
And what else did she say happened?
She had told me they were playing hide and seek. They had drank. She was trying to teach him a lesson, and that was that. She went upstairs. She went to sleep. She woke up. She doesn't know what happened.
Okay. So that was on the 24th.
Yes.
All right. On the 26th, were you not interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. So
I may have my days wrong, but it all happened on the same day.
All right, the 24th, do you remember 2 days later that a Detective Scott Lowen conducted an interview with you at 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida? You remember that interview?
Yes.
So that was 2 days later, is that correct?
I would assume so.
Yes. All right, so when he interviewed you 2 days later, did you tell him about this statement that Miss Boone made to you that you just told this jury in court?
I did mention it to him.
You did mention it to him?
I mentioned to them that we did have a conversation.
Did you tell him the content of the conversation?
I may not have told him the whole content, but I did tell him we had a conversation.
All right, well, what did you tell him? What content did you tell him on the 26th?
That they were playing hide and seek, that she was confused, she doesn't know what happened. I do believe I did mention to him the fact that she had said that she was trying to teach him a lesson. Not that anything was done with malice. I didn't state that at all.
So it's your recollection now today that on the 26th, you told Officer Lowen what you just told this jury. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Sir. In preparing for this case, did you have a meeting with the Assistant State Attorney on September 23rd of 2024?
Did I have a meeting?
Yes.
A brief chit chat over the phone.
A brief chit chat that was over the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. At that point in time over the phone, did you tell him that Sarah Boone, the defendant, stated that she was teaching him a lesson and things got out of hand and that she fell asleep?
Yes.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in 2024 of September the 23rd of this year, 2024.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you telling us that back on February the 26th of 2020, you told Officer Lowen at that time the same thing?
As I recall, yes.
So did she ever tell you how things got out of hand?
No.
Sir, you testified that you knew both Mr. Torres and Miss Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
You actually knew George Torres from a different time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
When did you first know George Torres?
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s?
He was a teenager and he lived down the street from me and my wife.
So you had had a previous relationship with Mr. Torres?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You just knew him from then?
Yes, as I stated, he was a teenager and I was an adult.
Okay. During this time, though, that you became reacquainted with him, did y'all establish a friendship at that time here in Orlando?
I wouldn't say a friendship, but an acquaintance, yes.
Sir, on Monday, February the 24th, that would have been the day that you were with Ms. Sexton and Gene Harris.
Yes.
Out in front of the apartment.
Correct.
Did you talk to law enforcement that day?
No.
You did not talk to them that day?
I don't recall talking to him that day, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any. If I can confer.
You can, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Just brief.
All right, thank you.
Back in the 90s, when you had previously known George Torres in this case, where were you living at that time?
I lived across the street. I lived on one block. He lived the next block over down in the middle.
In what city?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And when did you move from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
2018.
His
So
testimony
in
generally helps the
intervening years,
prosecution.
From your move from Philadelphia to coming to work
So
in
the
Teal
defense
Woods
tried to say
Park,
they were
did you
friends,
have
and
any
he's biased
contact
in favor
with,
of the victim.
with George Torres?
No, as a matter of fact, I
It's a
was
tempest in a
at
teapot, but that's
block
what
in
was going on.
2005, so I don't meet Judge again until I work at Teal Woods.
When did you start working at Teal Woods?
2018, 2019, roughly there.
No further questions.
Can this witness be released?
No, Your Honor, just subject to recall.
All right, sir. You'll be released subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State, call your next witness.
State will call Deputy Kayla Rodriguez.
Yeah, the defense just at the end wants to argue. You can't trust what this guy says because he confirms the state's theory. You can't trust what this guy says because he was friends with the victim, and he's mad. That's the argument they're trying to preserve. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have a videotape of the guy, asking to be let out.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You could be seated. Please state your name and spell it for the record if you could.
These tangential issues aren't going to matter.
Kayla Rodriguez. Kayla, Kayla. Rodriguez, Rodriguez.
Thank you. Cacciatore, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Can you tell us did you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
And how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
A little over 8 years, since 2016.
And tell us, what are your duties as a deputy sheriff?
As a deputy, I respond to calls for service, anything from a over with call, like a car being keyed the day prior, or a 911 emergency.
And what type of training do you need to be a deputy sheriff?
So for me, I obtained my bachelor's degree from UCF in criminal justice in 2014. After that, in 2016, I was hired by the sheriff's office. Right after being hired, I went straight into the academy. The academy is 5 months of training. We go over everything from case law,
Andrew,
scenarios,
I see how you pick which ones you want to fix.
Physical training.
I'm
After that, I do
matters.
2 more months with the sheriff's office where we go specifically into policy related to Orange County specifically. After that, I do 3 months on the road with a trainer where we are evaluated periodically through that process. You have a partner. You respond to calls for service during that time, and you slowly learn how to handle calls by yourself.
Do you also undergo continuing training as a condition of your employment?
Yes.
Tell us, were you working on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And tell us, what area of the county were you working in?
Orange County, unincorporated Orange County.
And did you receive a call in regards to this case?
Well, let's make it crazy.
And what was that call?
I mean, I wouldn't put her up against
what
Mr. Allen, for
information did you have
instance.
at the time you received the call?
So the dispatcher informed me that a woman called 911. She was actively performing CPR and that her boyfriend was in a suitcase.
And did you respond out to the scene?
Yes.
And when you responded out to the scene, were you dressed similarly as you are dressed today?
Yes.
And just for the record, you have, it looks like a standard green uniform on with a tool belt, your firearm, and also radio, body worn camera, badge.
Yes.
Tell us about your body worn camera.
So my body camera is used to capture scenes when we arrive. So as we are conducting any sort of law enforcement action, we turn our camera on.
When you turn your camera on, tell us, does it immediately capture sound at that point?
It does not. When we activate our camera, it goes back a minute. And the minute that it goes back to, you don't hear any audio for that first minute.
Tell us also about the capacity and the battery life of your camera as well.
So the battery will last us an entire shift typically if it's in a buffering mode. So if we're not recording, it will last the entire shift. As we record, it does drain the battery. So typically we will turn it off if we're sitting in our car for an extended period of time, if we call our supervisor, if we're talking to another deputy on the side away from a scene, we will not have the camera recording. If it recorded throughout the entire shift, the battery would die. We would need multiple batteries.
So you actually activate the camera in order to begin recording?
Correct.
Was your body camera operational on this call out?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness, which has been previously marked for identification as states H, I, and G that have been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm first showing you what's been marked for identification as states I. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Correct.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of your body worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states I into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as I will be received into evidence without objection as states 4.
Ma'am, next I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states H. Can you take a look at that disc? Tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of that portion of your body worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states H into evidence.
No objection to any of those coming in.
All right, what was pre-marked as states H will be received without objection as states 5.
And lastly, ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states G. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to review this camera prior to coming to court?
Yes.
And that's your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And it fairly and accurately represents your conduct on the body worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states G into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you. What was pre-marked as states G will be received without objection as state 6.
Your Honor, request permission to publish states 4.
You may.
Your Honor, may we dim the lights and use the overhead projector?
Yes.
Hey now.
there? Okay. You live here? Okay, I'll talk to you guys. That's my, the property manager. Tell him really quick, or we'll take care of that. Where's, yeah. You want that? Oh, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that for you, okay? I had a cigarette room. Okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really, great. Okay, well, I got my dog parked on the counter. Okay, we'll take care. You 1 second. Put the time. That you called it. That's the time you called it, okay. Go ahead. 707 at 1307. Can't go back in time. What's going on? Who is he to you? Boyfriend? Yes, because for like 3.5 years. What happened? You know, right last night. Can you pass this to the around to the FBI stuff? They need to sign that, sure. No. Each of them has to. This might be a real thing, but each of them has to put their name. What's going on? I just got here to fill in. No problem. Like, together, we can do some artwork together. You are putting a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started with. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to put stuff off the wall to make new art kind of there, like having a good time with one another. But we were drinking, we had a bottle of wine last night. So then it's like, we start to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So it's in the suitcase. Okay. That's my equipment. My former husband. I didn't live with you guys? No. I called him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Yeah, let's talk in private. Okay? I called you guys. The problem is, I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it before you called. Yeah. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30, whatever. So I came downstairs and I was like, oh, it's okay still. That's when I found him. I took him out. I tried doing CPR and then I called him and then I called him. Did he get here before the fire department got here? Sure. Okay. Where did you live at? Right on the street. Okay. So you were playing and who did some of it? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay, stop. You're okay. I wasn't there. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. Like having aneurysm or a heart attack or what? What kind of medical condition? None that I know of. No. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing artwork. Then we decided to go ahead and see. That's all that happened. I don't want it there. Like, I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to calling 911? Tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I told him while I was on probably ballpark. Here, let me fill this at the end, okay? Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am so cutting out right now. Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down the paper, okay? Just don't leave, okay, Brian? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you. I know. Do me a favor. Stand over there by that part. Give me 1 second. There's a dog in there? Yeah. You want to clear the back bedrooms real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here? Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He was gonna see him. They were planning on him, but she said she's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making phone calls. Okay, go ahead. What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with. Here, come here. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes. Here, come on, let's go outside. Come on. Good boy. Thank you, Robert. But just want to make sure. Okay.
Orange County.
Sheriff's Office. Right over here. We check this closet. So garage. That's garage.
All right, I guess we're gonna have to set up a crime scene now. What's that? Sheriff's Washington, Charlotte, Sheriff's Washington. She's working, Charlotte.
Just give us a second, okay? It's on the camera. I can't move it. You can come out of the house. Here, let's get you down, because I don't want you to pass it out. This is probably a lot for you to do, right? Water. I can get you some water, okay? Just, I want you not on your feet. I don't want you to pass it out. I need to find water. Okay, I'll get some for you.
Well, that was horrific.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
You may proceed.
Let's go ahead and start making the calls. Yes, could you go ahead and give me his last name, Torres? Spell it for me, Torres. And his first name? George, Jorge. Jorge. O-R-G-E. His birthday? 2/13/78. And this is the boyfriend? Yes. How long? 3.5 years. Living together that whole time? Yes. And your last name? Boone. Spell it, B-O-O-N-E. First name, Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. Birthday, 10/10/77. So you had a second to kind of collect yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine, putting us together, doing artwork, puzzles, artwork, had a bottle of wine, and they decided to play hide and seek. So what time was that? Do you remember? I mean, I know that I was bed probably by like what, 12:30? Okay. Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep, forgetting that he was in the suitcase.
Playing the hide and go.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it would be funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna joke with you and I'll dig you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You dipped him in there?
Yes.
You finally a little
It
bit?
was. We both were laughing about it. And then I fell asleep
Where did you fall asleep at?
upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase still.
Okay. And then you came back downstairs?
This morning, or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. I can tell you there's a lot of things that we can go through. So I just totally forgot.
You began to do CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About
In
what
verbal,
time this morning did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon, because I was awake. But then I finally started to come downstairs like 12:30-ish, whatever it is, and I was like, I He wasn't moving, nothing was happening, so I unzipped him, took him out, and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way over here. I called you when he got here. Once he got here, you called? Yes. Okay. And like air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could tell by looking at him. But you had to do CPR, you were doing that on your own? Yes. Okay. And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing it. And he's got no medical, he doesn't take any medication? I don't know. Like, I don't know medical wise. Like, what, I know he doesn't take any medication whatsoever. The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol has to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine. Okay, all right. Good. I want you to sit back down because I don't want. Can I have one more sip of water? Yes. That personal 29 residential audible plus 30 guys. I'll do what I can to get you a cup. I don't want you to have to keep doing that. Motors next on the channel. The cups are like right there. 44 inch motors. Right here. Don't talk to the ex-husband right now. Oh, I won't. Can I have a cigarette, please? Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house. It's on the back porch. Nope, all of it. Secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these days you'll have a pack from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay? Just cut. Okay. I don't want you on your feet. Yes, you put him on the second. He came back in? So there's no thanks then? Corporal, I can give you a rundown? She's, sitting on the curb. I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Want to talk over here?
Your Honor, request permission to publish State 6.
My God, she's terrible. This just gets worse and worse. And it started bad.
Hey, Sarah. You get enough water? No, you want to stay seated. I don't want you getting lightheaded. So remember I said the detectives were gonna come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're gonna ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
All right, Sarah, my name is Chelsea. My partner Scott. It's my understanding you reside here? Okay, is it just you, okay. Your former husband, okay. But you reside here with George and then your son lives with you or lives, there's 50-50? Okay. So from what has told me, she explained last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided you guys, okay, you guys decided to play hide and seek.
Well, we were playing hide and seek, and then
was your son home at the time, or okay?
No, it was fine. It was fine.
Okay.
Decided to play. We just did it like that. Like, sure. We were putting puzzles together. We were doing artwork. You can see the puzzle that we finished in there, and then the artwork. decided to play hide and seek with being stupid.
Okay.
So he decided to get in the suitcase. So I thought it would be funny to, and he was talking about it too, to come up in there. I go upstairs and fell asleep. So this morning when I was got here, I actually got up out of the bed. I thought for sure he was downstairs on the laptop. Really quiet. So then I came upstairs and I'm like, where is he? Like, and that's what I found.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And then you weren't sure about if you woke up this morning.
It was afternoon. I mean, I was
Or this afternoon.
but I just didn't want to come downstairs. So
Okay.
I played in bed for a little while. And then I eventually went downstairs. He was about where he was. And then I was like, oh my God. So I pulled him out and I took him out. And I started to describe the CPR. I helped you guys. So I called Brian. And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 minutes on the road, I called you guys. Okay. The person on the phone had me do the concussion. So I can come with him until you guys shut up.
Okay. And so as part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things? Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and? Okay.
Can I ask, is Brian, sorry, George, was he diagnosed with any kind of mental history?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have these people bottle of wine here and there, but I don't know.
That would be my next question. So you guys don't normally drink, you just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm gonna say like, okay, I guess normal drinking is like, we will have like a glass of wine or two, like when we're cooking dinner, sure, here and say that's working with them. But it's not like.
Couple of beers a day?
I don't understand though, like, for the little bit that we had, like, not my, like, I don't know if they had a heart attack or a stroke or what happened. I don't know.
So were you guys together all day yesterday? Okay. Here, like you, neither of you left the apartment yesterday?
I remember that before to get cigarettes.
Okay.
Walk there.
Does he have any history? No, he doesn't now. He said he doesn't.
I don't know.
As far as you've ever known him, you've never seen him?
No. I mean, he's from Philadelphia and he grew up in Philadelphia and then he went to Massachusetts and then from Massachusetts he came downstairs. So I don't really know like a whole lot of like medical history or.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, like 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
You've never been to the doctor or to the hospital during that time?
He and his brother got into a really bad argument at one point and had facial reconstruction. But he has been in the hospital from that, and then I talked him into going to see like a regular physician to get like a regular like checkup thing. Yeah. But there were no red flags.
How long ago was that?
The surgery or the doctor?
Both.
The surgery, I think, was at this point, what, 2 years maybe, 2.5 years. The checkup was.
Agreed.
Probably a good 2 years too.
But the defense will have a case.
And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep, I'll let you.
Is it normally stored down there? Or did you guys travel recently?
No, he was gonna start donation in there, so that's why
it's out. Okay, you guys did recently travel somewhere and you're like,
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around and up or you just zipped it up and walked away and out?
we're laughing about it, and I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
But what position was he in when he went in? Was he sitting on his rear end and his head up and he just kind of
No, okay, so like this is like this is his head and then he's right here.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes.
You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Okay.
I moved real quick.
Understand this? Okay.
So he said that
That's just because you have a dirty mind.
like
we're gonna do that once we walk through and see, yeah, we're gonna.
I'm just telling you, like,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
I'm
while.
afraid for my life. I'm afraid for my life. His family has never liked me. I'm the blue white devil, what they call me. So they've never liked me, they've never taken me in, they've never accepted me, I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughter just today.
No, I mean, like, about this. Is that, okay. So no one's gonna know until, we will be making that notification, so
They're going to
it's,
tell me.
okay, well,
That's kind of my take.
They're going to tell me. His kids are going to tell me in Philadelphia. They're going to tell me. This was not intentional.
Okay.
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
we're gonna do a thorough investigation. We will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we need to, okay?
And my 9-year-old.
Or he's at school and he's with your husband.
I know, well,
Ex-husband.
Your husband said that, your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your mom to pick up.
Oh, okay, Mom.
All right, we're going to go aside. if that's okay.
Yes, please, but can you guys, so I know what's going on. And don't,
All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question, you need to talk to us. He's standing right there, she'll be right here.
yeah, okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right? I mean, I have all their phone.
We're not calling, we're not making phone calls. We're actually gonna speak to them in person. We
That'll
are.
be later on.
Okay.
It'll be later.
Prior to us making the
I'm
call.
not gonna be here. They're going to tell me.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave, okay?
This was,
Okay? Okay. Thank you.
just stay seated, okay, Sarah? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. I'm gonna talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
Well, I have to say that was actually riveting, like seeing all the video of what's going on. That's better than we usually get in these trials.
While you were at the scene, did you also make contact with Brian Boone?
Post occurrence, but it was good.
Did you take a statement from him as well?
I did.
Were all your interactions with the defendant on that day captured on your body worn camera?
Yes.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Is this witness released?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're released, not subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can the
No
parties
problem.
approach for a moment?
It's probably smart. Just get her, if you're the defense, just get her the hell off the stand. She was not good for you. And you don't have any good basis to cross-examine her. Well, Rosalind, I've got this little channel that I'm, busy working on all the time. Well, with that and a law firm and your occasional naughty adventure, my plate's full. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the one thing I sort of believe in this is the hide and seek to some extent, because I don't think she can physically force him into that suitcase if she wanted to. Even, and I don't think this is the case, but even if he was like drugged, I don't think she can physically put him in there. Like, he needs to voluntarily do it. I'm not buying it as a defense, but I am buying it as the pretext to get him into the damn suitcase. Yeah, the Flamingos and their daily drama too. Holy Toledo. It's quite a life I lead. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. You guys didn't know this was gonna be Law Talk with Mike Therapy Hour, did you? Let me tell you about my life. Okay. I know nobody cares. Every time I see your name, MGT, I think of MGMT because it's one of my favorite bands. I don't know. Just more confessions. More stuff you didn't need to know. We got space to fill here. And I don't have Super Nerd from Fox. Captain Obvious over there telling us things. You see, right now, the defendant is sitting at defense table like she has since the beginning of the trial with her bad haircut. See, the thing is, I can't tell you about the good parts. I'm not gonna spice it up real good. Some of it even be
Members of our
true.
jury, it is 3:21 at this time. We're going to go ahead and take that afternoon regularly scheduled break. I'm going to ask you to come back here in 15 minutes at 3:37. Similar instructions that I've given you previously. Please don't just conduct any independent investigation or research as to person, places, things, or charge involved, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or
I
anyone
find
else.
it
I thank
quite
you for your service.
interesting.
We'll see you shortly.
Sounds person, place, or thing. All right, is there a hot call going I need to know about that we can kill 15 minutes with?
Y'all may be seated. Thank you. Bless you. State anything else we need to address?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in a recess till 3:37. Thank you very much.
For the court to determine attorney fees, a probation fee, 6-month controlling concurrent with 24 CR 180, 5 days, which is mandatory, but with credit for time, and 1 year reporting probation. I can tell the court thank you.
Mr. Regier, is that your understanding of the agreement?
For the most part, Your Honor, there are a couple things I'd like to flesh out if the court will permit me.
You may.
He wants to flesh
Your
out.
Honor, the state's understanding is that in the criminal case, the state is prepared to dismiss count 2 on successful entry of the plea to count 1. No fine, court costs, while deferring to the court on the attorney's fees. It is the state's understanding that there is no restitution. However, the state is also recommending, pursuant to plea negotiations, a $100 domestic violence fund fee. Again, 6 months underlying, 12 months reporting probation with a $6 probation fee, subject to all standard conditions. As counsel for the defense has already indicated, the state is also recommending, pursuant to plea negotiations, a domestic violence assessment that the defendant follow all recommendations. The state does not have an objection in this matter to the no contact order being lifted, nor does the state object to the 2 cases running concurrent to each other, at least insofar as the underlying sentence is concerned. In the traffic case, I believe that the council had accurately described the nature of agreed upon disposition, $100 fine, court costs, deferred to the court on the issue of attorney's fees, 5 days jail with credit for time served, 6 months underlying, and again, 12 months reporting probation and a 6 probation fee. Both the cases run concurrent with each other.
All right.
Fun fact for our new people here: Jay Regier always wears lederhosen under his suit, but you wouldn't know that unless you're a regular here at Law Talk with Mike.
Excuse me, I'm looking at the files here. Council, were these from the same date, same?
Judge, the
Chain of
criminal
events?
case was April 23, 2024, traffic May 5th, 2023.
And that would appear to be an accurate recitation of the affidavit and traffic ticket in the
All
respective.
right, somebody do it for me. I need a good Photoshop. Jay Regier in a mankini. That's cute. How you pretend like you don't know, crazy.
Mr. Chandler, have you heard what the attorneys have told me?
Yes, sir, I have.
And is that correct? That is the agreement that you've reached?
Yes, sir.
And is it in regards to 23 TR 2403? Are you pleading guilty at this time to driving while suspended, a Class A misdemeanor, which would make it a second or subsequent event?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty to count 1 in 24 CR 180, criminal damage to property?
Yes, Your Honor.
And counsel, is that a misdemeanor or B?
B misdemeanor, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, going off of the information in the case, it does appear to be charged in that fashion, although it does have a domestic violence designation pursuant to KSA 224616.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Well, on top of my question, what is the difference between a Class A and a Class B?
Well, both of these, a Class A, which is your driving while suspended, the maximum punishment is up to 1 year in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $2,500. With a B misdemeanor, the maximum is 6 months in jail and a fine not to exceed $1,000.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Mr. Chandler, have you had sufficient time to discuss this with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
And has anybody forced or coerced you in some fashion to enter these pleas?
No, Your Honor, they have not.
Do you understand that while there's recommendations for sentence, the court is not obliged to follow those recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand that. And at the same time, if you don't mind, the day I was picked up on my pay to appear, I had just gotten out of treatment for alcohol, and the same day I was going to find another outpatient here in El Dorado and AA because I know I have a problem drinking and I want to fix that.
Um, and is it correct that on the date I stated earlier or was stated earlier, you were driving while your license was suspended for a second, and you already had a prior conviction?
Yes, sir.
And that occurred in Butler County?
Yes, sir.
And on the date alleged in the, you damaged property that looks like your wife also had an interest in, that being the vehicle that the two of you were, had jointly?
Yes, sir.
You understand that with a plea of this nature, you would be waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir, I do.
Very well. I do find that the pleas are knowingly and voluntarily entered with the advice of good counsel. Additionally, that the defendant waives his right to trial. The defendant has not been coerced in any fashion. There's a factual basis to support these convictions. So in 23 TR 2403, he's found guilty of count 1. Count 2 is dismissed with prejudice pursuant to the agreement. And likewise in 24 CR 180, count 2 is dismissed pursuant to the agreement with prejudice. And he is found guilty on that offense as well. Count 1. I will hear counsel at this juncture if there's any.
Boy, I'm just getting railroaded here.
From the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, I can tell the court that in my discussions with Mr. Chandler, he has been very forthright and forthcoming that he does acknowledge he has an alcohol issue he needs to tackle. He went one step further. I received an email from Chelsea Jean from South Central Mental Health. I got it yesterday. And she does tell me that she went out and evaluated Mr. Chandler on Monday at his request, and they are accepting him in therapy and something called SUD services, which I'm not sure what that is, but he is actively trying to take some steps himself. Would ask the court to allow the opportunity for that probation and for him to do these things. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chandler, is there any statements that you'd personally like to make before I pronounce sentence?
Well, except for that I'm actually trying to get my life back together. I mean, I know it's one step closer, but it's just something I should have done a long time ago. And I understand that. But
anything further?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. In 23 TR 2403, I'm going to impose a fine of $100. I am going to impose a jail sentence of 90 days, 5 days of which has to be served.
Ouch.
5 days of his jail credit will be assessed to that so that is completed. So he'll have
whatever. No, that's time served.
Remainder of that, he'll get credit for the time that he served. But I find that that's been sufficient to serve the mandatory 5 days. In regards to, I am going to order court costs and attorney's fees on that matter. I am going to place him on reporting probation for a period of 1 year. And probation fees will be assessed as part of that. He is to successfully get a domestic violence evaluation at his expense And that'll be in the time frame that your court services officer sets for you. So you will follow through with any treatment that's been recommended for either domestic violence and or alcohol and drugs. If the court services officer will have discretion in regards to if the evaluations are recent enough and so forth to qualify for that, and they have a good treatment plan set up already, then they will not be required to do an additional test. If those are out of time so that they're not valid, then he'll need to get an updated evaluation again at his expense and in the time frame court services sets. In regards to 24 CR 180, I do note from the affidavit that he appeared to be under the influence. What seemed to be the thing that angered him is the parties would not give him keys to the vehicle that he ended up damaged, which was his and his wife's. Mr. Chandler may not have seemed so at the time. Clearly, you didn't feel at that time they were trying to save you or help you. And as many times as this court's had to deal with situations where people have been killed by drunk drivers, I'm glad that that's not the circumstance here. In regards to the sentence for that, I am going to impose you were on bond at the time, and you had failed to appear on the other case. There shows at least 2 times that you'd failed to appear. So I am going to place you on 6, or give you a sentence of 6 months and 1 year reporting probation. This sentence is going to be consecutive to 23 TR 2403. Different crimes, different days. However, your probations will be the same, under the same conditions, and both of them are 1 year. So the only way that's really going to come back to bite you, Mr. Chandler, is if you violate the terms of the probation. You are not to use alcohol or eat any drugs that are deemed illegal in the state of Kansas. That includes you to comply with the standard Butler County misdemeanor probations for these offenses. There'll be a contract that you'll need to sign off on in that regard. So, and as far as credit for time served, I'm going to assess those, any jail credit he has, to 23 TR 2403. So that would apply to the 90 days there. And, but as I indicated, that will, for the criminal damage property case, that's going to be consecutive in the event that it has to be revoked. Very well, Mr. Chandler, I hope you get the treatment that you need and follow through with that. But hopefully this will give you enough incentive, knowing the consequences, if to give you whatever extra motivation that you might need to do that. But any use of alcohol will be a violation of both of these probations. So I strongly encourage you to follow through with whatever treatment works for you and what's recommended. Counsel, is there any questions in regards to the court sentence?
Just a couple final points, Your Honor. In the criminal case, does the court make any orders concerning a fine, court costs, attorney's fees, or the domestic violence fund, as well as the no contact order?
Well, I didn't impose a fine, and that was not my intent to impose a fine. Court costs are assessed to the defendant and the attorney's fees in both cases. And he's going to be really on one probation, so there should be one probation fee for 2 separate cases, but it's going to be at the same time. So there should be one probation fee. There's no restitution that's been requested or ordered. Any additional issues, Mr. Regier?
Just the domestic violence fund fee, Your Honor.
That is ordered as well. That was a $100, I believe.
Very good, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson, anything else?
Judge, I did want to ask the court for one thing. I know the court has certain philosophies about probation. I just wanted to make sure Mr. Chandler was aware of the court's philosophy on probation.
Mr. Chandler, if you haven't heard me tell others, you've got a significant sentence here. And if you're on probation, you've been given.
Tony Henderson with Sarah Boone.
All right. Ms. Boone is still seated at counsel's table, wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Nothing to say.
Defense?
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and stand and we can bring back in our panel.
Forget to hit like and subscribe, or the dogs get it.
You may be seated. State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
Members of the jury, again, if you could please raise your hand, showing that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. All right, the record reflect all jurors have raised their hands. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Deputy John Martinez.
Sir, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us? Thanks, sir. You may be seated. Thank you. You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, who is it that you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I'm going on my 16th year.
Prior to working for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, do you have any previous law enforcement experience?
I do.
And where was that?
I first started my career with the New York City Police Department,
And how long were you with the New York City Police Department?
about 10 years.
And what was your position with the New York City Police Department?
I was a police officer.
And at the sheriff's office, tell us, what are some of your duties as a deputy sheriff?
Respond to calls of service. My primary function is the school resource officer.
And is continuing training a condition of your employment with the sheriff's office?
It is.
Tell us, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was dispatched to this location.
And what was this location?
It was located at 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3.
And is that here in Orange County, Florida?
It is.
And when you responded to that location, who did you first come into contact with?
I came in contact with Miss Sarah Boone.
Do you see Sarah Boone here in court today?
I do.
Could you please point to her and identify an article of clothing she's wearing?
The lady sitting in the middle with the black blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant?
Record will so reflect.
During the time that you were on the scene, did you have a body-worn camera?
I did.
And was that body-worn camera activated?
It was.
Were all your contacts with Ms. Boone recorded on that body-worn camera?
It was.
Were other deputies also on the scene at that time?
Yes.
And was Deputy Rodriguez there?
She was.
So would both of your body-worn cameras both captured some of the same time frames?
Correct. Yes.
Did you have an occasion to go inside of the apartment?
I did.
And inside of the apartment, what observations did you make?
When I first entered the apartment, I noticed a Hispanic male laying on his back in looks like a small nook dining area. Later identified Mr. George Torres.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states K and been shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states K. Do you recognize that disc?
I do.
Tell us, what is that disc?
Is a copy of my body-worn camera.
And does this body-worn camera fairly and accurately depict the portion of the events that took place on February 24th, 2020?
It does.
And are those your initials on the disc?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states K into evidence.
Any objections? No objection. What was pre-marked as states K will be received into evidence without objection as state 7.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may. Madam Clerk, can you dim the lights?
I am liking all the video in this. It's really helping keep the trial interesting. Whoa! Look who's here.
How about that? What's up?
Ben Bateman.
Believe it or not, here I am.
Where you at, brother?
I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
Well, you're just out rambling around.
I'm at the State Fair of Texas.
Do
And yes,
you know
I wear my Big Tex shirt to the State Fair of
Texas?
Yes.
Love it.
Last
All right, you're-
weekend of the State Fair.
You're native
The magical
Texan,
place
right?
where dreams come true.
Have you seen any of this this Boone case?
I have not been paying attention.
Well, they were playing hide and seek, and she zipped him up in a suitcase, and he died. I think they need your help. Can you get her out of that?
Have to wait.
All right,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
have to wait till the State Fair of Texas is over. But I might be buying a cowboy hat later on. I don't know. I actually
What
found
hap-
one that I like.
What happened to Viva Las Vegas?
Pardon?
Did Viva Las Vegas get kidnapped by a pile of naughty Latinas?
Well, you know, when I started in Las Vegas 2.0, I was an unemployed bum. I had just done it in my free time. Since then, I took over the contract for an attorney. She moved to Reno, and then I got 2 other jobs, and so now I'm like, I got 3 jobs. I'm a bum who's working 3 jobs now.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
it's crazy. Thanks.
All right. All right.
So, yeah, that's what's been going on with Viva Las Vegas.
All right. I'm clearing this out. This video's heating up.
All right.
They're coming out now. I'll get you somebody, okay? She wants to say something. She wants to call someone.
Don't know anything though, like why or how? So that we will not know the answer to that because we're not. So we're not in the office. I'll have to respond to not talk yet. That'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning as far as him. But I cannot, there's no way I can say how, why. So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple? That's normal when someone passes away within an age. I'm like really scared. I want you guys to know that.
Well, you have all these evidences, so I'm really sure nothing's gonna happen. Before we go and make any notification, you'll have plenty of time to read or do whatever you need to do, okay? We talked about that more than time, but that you.
But like, I don't, like, this was totally like not intentional, like, that's what I'm scared about too, like.
We'll have all the answers, we'll have a lot more tomorrow. What you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out.
First off.
Yeah, it's no real medical history that
I know of.
We're those who have passed away, we come out.
I know.
We come out to an investigation. Medical examiner office, we send people out, this is what we do. If he was 75 years old and had a heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I don't know what it is.
Exactly, and that's what we're here to find out. We're just here to give you the answers that you want, the answers that family
I
want.
really want to see my stuff. I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but right. So do I just like get out here and wait for you guys? Anybody else have you to show up or wait here that needs to be here? My team's here that needs to be here. The medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready to do it yet. So they're gonna take him, they're gonna take some photos, take him. That's towards the end of it, and they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point. So we won't be calling you right yet. Okay, so like I said, I gotta go do some paperwork, they're gonna chat, with some people, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you if you're okay with that. So just give us a little bit more time, like I said, and go and do that. So, like, you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow? You have to. Once our investigation is pretty much complete here, once we leave here, we will be going to.
But again, I'm not gonna just go and do it, but you know, do nothing. Talk to you about it, anything like that.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but like, what are you just telling us? What do you tell us, Janet? Like, what's the reason as to why?
You tell them what we know about them. You tell them.
And that we're gonna be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning. And hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
Their number, they can contact them, you know.
So yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that we're still, they're gonna think that we don't have. They always have said that. They've always have said that. I told you, because I'm the blue-eyed white giant, that's what they call me, because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses even after I had purged him numerous times, he wasn't able to see his family. You have somewhere safe that you can go tonight? Both my parents are deceased, my grandparents are deceased, my aunt and uncle are deceased. I got notice. I have a brother that's in the Marines, and I have another one that's in jail. Unless brother that's Marine local, no. Well, he's in Altamont, but I think he's doing whatever Marine he's doing. But the only way. Your phone's inside, correct? Yeah. Does he have a phone? No, he doesn't. He used my phone. Yeah, the sheriff. So the only place I could go is over to Brad's house. I don't think I have a problem with it. So, well, like I said, we're not gonna leave here. If you do not feel safe, you're not gonna leave here. If you're not feeling safe. And then we're like, and then so I in Philadelphia. Well, she's in Philadelphia because there's gotta be a funeral, right? That you're talking like days and no, I'm talking right here, right now. So let me do my investigation. Let me go do this paperwork that I'm talking about because we can go back and forth about what it's like all day long. I promise we're not gonna leave here for you and you not feel safe. Right? Please. I don't even know what to tell you. It's okay. Just take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes, let us start thing, and we'll be back to talk to you, I promise, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well. Yeah. Okay. There's nobody here, just me.
Okay, that's fine. You're right there.
Yeah.
Sit there and take your life. I have relief coming.
State's doing a really nice job with this case. There are a lot of moving parts to put this together.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
And
Would this be released?
it's going pretty smoothly.
Thank you, sir. You're released, not subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
State, you may call your next witness.
State would call Melissa Roughgarden.
I see what you did there, Gregsy.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Melissa Roughgarden, MELISSA
Thank you.
The defendant does kind of look like a man,
Ma'am, who do you work for?
so it's. I guess it's
employed with the
okay.
Orange County Sheriff's Office.
What is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I am a forensic biologist with the forensics unit. Prior to this, I was a crime scene investigator for 5 years.
And how long in total have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 6.5 years.
And tell us all the positions you've held during that time.
Those two, a crime scene investigator and a forensic biologist.
Let's turn to your work as a crime scene investigator. What does a crime scene investigator do?
We respond to crime scenes. We photograph and document those crime scenes through photographs, notes, and sometimes sketches. We collect evidence, we process the scene, and then we do further processing to that evidence back at our forensics lab.
Did she just say we sometimes get jizz? I'm seriously asking.
Can you you tell us what that entails?
It depends on the scene and the evidence, but it includes the photographs. We also take swabs for potential DNA. We can also do testing for possible blood and things like that.
Thank
We
you.
also process for latent fingerprints.
That,
among
that
other
strikes me
things.
as inappropriate.
What type of training did you need in order to become a crime scene investigator?
Upon being hired with the sheriff's office, as a CSI,
In
I
fact,
completed
yeah,
a
that's
16-week
a legitimate part of their job. Yes.
which includes in-house processing as well as going out to crime scenes with trained crime scene investigators to observe and then assist, as well as taking on calls with the trained crime scene investigator.
Approximately how many crime scenes have you processed in the course of your time as a CSI?
It would be hundreds. I don't know the exact amount.
It's good policy for any witness that wants to be believed
As a CSI
to talk to the jury.
for 2020.
Yes, I was.
And tell us, where did you respond out to on that day?
I responded to 4748 Franz Court, apartment 3.
And is that in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
And when you responded to that scene, whom did you make contact with?
I made contact with the homicide detective, Chelsea Kepsel.
Did you receive information from the detective?
Yes, that it was a death investigation.
Did you walk the scene with the detective?
Yes.
And tell us, what does it mean to walk the scene with the detective in a homicide?
We go into the scene and just observe. We don't interact with anything and discuss what we see.
When you walked this scene, did you see George Torres?
Yes, I did.
Where was he located?
He was located on the floor in the living room of the apartment.
Did you, with the detective, identify potential items of evidence to be collected?
Seriously?
You had mentioned previously about
Seriously?
documenting scenes with photographs. Was that done in this case?
Well, sometimes you learn by accident here at Law Talk with Mike. I mean, if she would have said we collected a semen sample, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But I just didn't expect. Oh, good Lord. That's sweet. I'm actually touched that we have that level of innocence in our chat. I didn't think it existed.
It's been marked for identification as States M and Minnesota's defense. Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States M. Can you take a look at the contents of State M to yourself and tell me if you recognize the items contained within States M?
Well, I can't say that I'm proud that you learned that here. We are dirty adults. There's no toys about it. Basically, this whole chat is.
Which is number one, wrong.
Okay, I am.
Do you recognize the contents of States M?
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is the contents of State M?
They are photographs I took on the crime scene.
Do they fairly and accurately represent how that crime scene appeared on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, they do.
Here at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States M into evidence.
How many photographs are there? Do you have a total?
111.
No objection.
All right. What was pre-marked as States M will be received into evidence without objection as States 8.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may.
Your Honor, could we have the lights dimmed?
Yes.
Behavior in this case is disgusting.
Here at Let's Tech with Mike, we always dig deeper.
Publish as part of States M.
You're not going to learn this at Law and Crime, I'll tell you that.
Photo number 4. Tell us, what is this?
This is the front door to the residence.
There we go. We'll all be prepared for the Diddy trial when it rolls around.
States 5.
This is also the front door of the residence, just a closer image to the door.
When you enter the residence, what is the first area just off to the right of the front door?
That would be the kitchen.
Showing you it's been marked as States 11.
Yes, so this is just inside the door. To the right, there is the kitchen area.
Showing you States 14.
Yes.
What is this a photo of?
So this is the counter with the sink in the kitchen. And there's also the open area just above where you can see into the living room.
Showing you from States Composite, photo 19.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a hutch inside the kitchen. You can see in the background, that is where that first photo of the kitchen was taken. So that's the entryway. And then this is the hutch, and there is a cell phone on the hutch in the kitchen.
showing you stage 22.
This is the trash can in the kitchen. You can also see the hutch we were just looking at there on the side.
Stage 23.
This is the contents of the trash can. You can see 2 wine bottles on the top of the trash.
Did you also find receipts in that trash can as well?
Yes.
Photo 25 from the composite.
These are those same wine bottles and 3 Publix receipts that were removed from the trash can.
Did you take these items and collect them into evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Photo 32 from the composite.
Yes, this is just in further into that entryway. You can see the living room.
Photo 35 from the composite.
This is another photo of the living room. You can see the victim located on the floor and a suitcase in the bottom corner of the photograph.
Photo 36.
This is another photograph in the living room. This is that wall we saw in the kitchen there with the opening. You can also see a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall.
That baseball bat collected into evidence in this case?
Yes, it was.
Photo 38.
This is, excuse me. This is also a photograph of the living room, just the other side of the room.
Photo 43 from the composite.
Yes. This photograph was taken in the living room. You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Photograph 45.
This is a photograph of the living room just from the other side of the room. You can see the front door in the middle back of the photo.
Photo 49 from the composite.
This is a more close-up photograph of the suitcase.
Photo 50.
This is a photograph of one of the zippers on the suitcase.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper. This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
Just for the record, that's photograph 52. States 53 from this composite.
The close-up image of that same zipper. There is also no zipper pull on that one.
Photo 54 from the composite.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
What items, what apparent blood was inside the suitcase?
It was observed on the white cap and a necktie, and there was also visible blood just on the interior of the suitcase.
Photo 57 from the composite.
The contents of the suitcase, but you can see the white cap more clearly and the blood observed on it.
'58 from the composite.
You can see the necktie with blood. It appeared to be silver multicolored. And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Photo 61 from the composite.
That is the miscellaneous papers and paperwork that was removed from the suitcase.
Photo 62 from the composite.
That's the suitcase after all of the items were removed.
Photo 64 from the composite.
Yes, that is what appeared to be some like small pieces of paper that appeared to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
Photo 65 from the composite.
That is the baseball bat that was leaning against the wall in the living room.
Photo 68 from the composite.
This is back to the stairs to the second floor in the living room.
Photo 69 from the composite.
So it's moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
Photo 70 from the composite.
Photographing more of the staircase. These are the steps leading to the second floor before I proceed up to the second floor.
This is photo 71 for the record. Photo 72 from the composite.
The upper portion of the stairs leading to the second floor.
How many bedrooms were on the second floor of the unit?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Photo 75 from the composite. What is this?
This is the hallway. You can see a closet in the hallway and then the door to one of the bedrooms.
This appears to be a child's room.
Yes, it did.
Photo 79 from the composite.
This is a photograph within the child's bedroom.
Photo 86 from the composite.
This is the door leading to the other bedroom upstairs.
Did this other bedroom also contain a bathroom?
Yes, it did.
Photo 90 from the composite.
This is the bed within that bedroom.
That was Bob LeBaron's fault.
Photo 97 from the composite.
This is the bathroom.
In that master bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Did you also have an occasion to photograph the defendant?
Yes, I did.
You see the defendant here in court today.
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to them and identify our article of clothing they're wearing?
She is right there with a black blazer and a pink shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record so reflect.
Showing you photo 98 from the composite.
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you are photographing the defendant at this point?
I collected her buccal swabs, which is a DNA standard from the inside of the mouth, and it is part of our procedure to photograph
Okay, is that better?
person for identification purposes.
Do you also document the rest of her body as well at that time?
Yes, I did. This is a photograph of her hands facing upward.
Photograph 102.
This is her right hand facing upward.
Photograph 103.
Her left hand facing upward.
Photograph 104.
Both of her hands facing downward, so the tops of her hands.
Photograph 105.
This is her right hand facing downward.
Photograph 106.
And her left hand facing downward.
Photograph 107.
This would be of her right arm.
Photograph 108.
Her left arm.
Photograph 109.
Her right arm with it facing upward.
Photograph 110.
Her left arm with her arm facing upward.
During the time you were interacting with the defendant, did she ever indicate to you?
What, this? Yeah, looks like it.
You had previously testified that you also collected physical items of evidence from the home as well, in this case.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification as state C and then shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm assuming it was remarked for identification as state C. Can you take a look at that package for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that package?
These are the 2 wine bottles that were collected from the trash can.
Is your name on that package?
Yes, my name is on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, and my initials are on the evidence seal from when I sealed the package.
And it also has your agency case number and location information for this case.
Yes, that is correct.
Ma'am, could you open the contents of states C and look at it to yourself?
Have to pull them out to recognize the item. They're wrapped in bubble wrap.
Sure, just have a view from the court. What is the contents of state C?
These are the 2 wine bottles that I collected from the trash can.
Are these wine bottles in the same or substantially the same condition as they were at the time that you packaged them on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, the same time I collected them that day.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states C into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as state C will.
And Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
You can unwrap it now.
Yes, really.
You can put it back. Did you also have occasion to collect the baseball bat from the living room?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states B and shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states B. Can you take a look at this item?
Yes.
Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do. This is the wooden baseball bat I collected from the living room.
Does this item have your name on it?
Yes, it has my name on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, as well as my initials on the evidence seal.
It also has your initials and your agency case number as well.
Yes, it does.
Ma'am, could you open states B and look at the contents of it to yourself without displaying it to the court?
Yes. The wooden baseball bat.
And is that bat in the same or substantially the same condition as it was at the time that you collected it on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states B into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as states 10 without objection.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may.
My God. Is that guy wearing a 3-piece suit in Florida? I mean, he looks nice. But I don't know if you guys know this. Florida's hot.
You also had an occasion to collect a suitcase as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Prior to placing the suitcase into evidence, did you process it?
I took measurements of the suitcase.
What are the measurements of the suitcase?
It was 28 inches in length, 20 inches wide, and 8 7/8 inches deep.
Your Honor, at this time, may the witness step down from the stand and approach the clerk's area.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States A. Tell me, do you recognize this item? Tell us, what is this item?
This is the suitcase I collected.
Is that the suitcase?
And how is it that you know that this is a suitcase you collected from the living room?
It has the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I labeled with the item description. It also contains my name and agent's case number, and my initials are also on the evidence tape.
Ma'am, at this time, could you open States A and look at the contents of it to yourself?
It's seriously impressive that anyone could get in that. If this guy pops out, I swear, I'm done with this trial.
What is inside of States A?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
It does appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition at the time that you collected it and placed it into evidence? Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States A into evidence.
Any objections? No objection. What was pre-marked as A will be received into evidence without objection as States 11.
Your Honor, at this time, I ask for permission to publish States A to the jury.
You may.
Wow.
Can you open the inside of it?
We are the world. We are the children. Seriously, I don't know how anyone can get in that suitcase. That's not big enough for a Peruvian midget. See what I did there? They're already short in Peru.
How easy is it to operate the zipper that closes the suitcase?
It was a little difficult.
I have no additional questions at this time.
But it's harder from the inside.
Any cross-examination?
Good afternoon.
Are you also referred to as a medical examiner investigator as opposed to just crime scene investigator?
No, that is not my title.
Do you do reports that the medical examiner necessarily relies upon in the process of doing the autopsy and additional investigations?
You would have to ask them.
Who makes the decision at the scene as to what items will be photographed and what items will be taken into custody, what items will necessarily be tested or analyzed?
That's a collaborative effort between the crime scene investigator and the lead detective while on scene.
That would be yourself, and who was the lead detective?
The lead detective was Chelsea Kepsel.
Now, you authored a report in this matter, did you not?
Yes,
And that report was utilized, if you in fact know, by the medical examiner in developing her autopsy report, was it not?
I do not know.
In your report, did you advise the medical or whomever might read your report that in fact the body had been removed from the suitcase by first offenders or first responders?
No, I don't believe so.
And we know that you have capacity to do DNA analysis, correct?
No, we process DNA or collect swabs for DNA, and then that's submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for conventional DNA analysis.
So you did that with a sample from the inside of Sarah Boone's mouth.
Her buccal swabs were submitted to the FDLE.
And who made that decision?
The detective and I.
Who made the decision not to bother to do a DNA analysis on the blood from the items within the suitcase or the suitcase itself?
That was a discussion between the detective and I.
And you chose not to do that.
No, we did not.
You assumed the blood inside the suitcase belonged to George Torres, correct?
There was blood observed in the suitcase.
But you don't know who that belonged to because you didn't bother to analyze it or have it analyzed, correct?
The blood was not tested.
Now, State's Exhibit B, the back. You took that into evidence. Was that again a collaborative decision by yourself and the lead detective?
Yes.
And what efforts did you make to have the bat analyzed, given the fact that it was apparently evidence?
It was just collected as evidence from the scene.
Did you advise either the lead detective or anybody else involved with this investigation that there may be matters that could be analyzed when analyzing the bat that would help or assist in the investigation of this matter?
It's my job to do the documentation and the collection of evidence.
Well, you said it was a collaborative effort between yourself and the lead detective. So did you participate in that decision?
We chose to collect the bat and put it into evidence.
And so there was a fiber analysis done on the bat to determine whether or not it was used to strike George Torres when he was in the suitcase. Was there not?
Pardon?
In fact, there was not, was there? There was no effort to analyze bat.
Jack, I don't believe the witness had an opportunity to answer the question.
Sustained.
Please.
Can you repeat the question?
If I can remember it, I will. Do you know that there was any effort made in this particular investigation, the investigation of Sarah Boone, to analyze the bat for fibers?
No, there was not.
And why was that not done?
It was not done.
You indicated that you had some interaction with Ms. Boone, is that correct?
I collected her buccal swabs.
Did you speak with her?
In collecting her buccal swabs, yes.
Did you speak to any other witnesses?
No.
did you make any determination of other matters that might be of import or evidentiary value when you were going through the house and taking photographs and documenting the interior of the townhouse?
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, how many pictures of the child's bedroom did we see?
Here today,
Yes, ma'am.
we saw the entrance to the bedroom as well as a photograph of the interior of the bedroom.
What was the evidentiary value of that?
It's my job to photograph and document while on scene, so the rooms in the upstairs were photographed and documented.
Did you photograph holes in the wall, possibly made by the victim?
I don't recall photographing holes in the wall, no.
Did you take photographs of items within the house or throughout the house that may have depicted incidents of prior violence?
You'll have to be more specific.
How about bloody pillowcases? Did you make any effort to collect and analyze pillowcases of the rooms that you were photographing?
No.
Who made you have significant experience with zippers?
I use zippers
Hey,
regularly,
now.
yes.
Enough
So
to
personal.
have an opinion as to whether or not a zipper is stuck or not.
Is what? Sorry?
You testified on direct that the zipper was a little tight.
Just that it was difficult without the zipper pulls to use the zipper. Yes, from opening the suitcase here today.
Today.
Yeah, I think she's holding up great.
Pardon?
You only today have for the first time tested the ability to pull open the zipper on the suitcase?
No, I'm saying it was difficult today.
I've known a few.
A redirect examination.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, you documented the entirety of the house as you saw it.
Yes,
So every room in the house,
they were all taken overall photographs.
walls in the house.
In the overall photographs, yes, they weren't all individually photographed, no.
And you did not document or note any type of holes in the wall or any type of damage to the walls, anything like that.
Not the walls, no.
Is that something that would have been documented both photographically and also within your report?
Yes,
You also, as we've previously seen in the composite, saw the victim where he was laying in this case, correct?
yes,
Was the victim, did he have blood on his mouth and on his face?
yes, he did.
Did he have open wounds on his body?
There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. There was also some other areas, like defects noted on his body.
You also made contact with the defendant too, as well.
Yes,
Did you note any other wounds or cuts or anything else that was not documented that you haven't testified to?
no,
So no wounds, nothing on her.
not that I recall, no.
No further questions.
Thank you. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Owens, can this witness be released?
Judge, we'd like her to be on call.
Subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you. Can the parties approach? Members of the jury, thank you so much for your attention in this matter. It is 4:52. At this time, we're going to go ahead and take our recess for the evening. Madam Clerk has letters that I have signed regarding your jury service for you to provide to your employer. Court deputy will provide them to you in the deliberation room before you are released for the day. I have a similar instruction to read to you that I gave you before the lunch hour. Jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. This applies whether you are in the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. You must not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look at maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. Jurors, do not watch local news or read local newspapers. Jurors must not have discussions of any sort with friends, family members, or even your fellow jurors about the case or the people and places involved. So do not let anyone make comments to you or ask questions about the trial. I want to stress again that just as you must not talk about this case face-to-face, you must not talk about this case by using an electronic device. You must not use phones, computers, or other electronic devices to communicate. Do not send or accept any messages related to this case or your jury service. Do not discuss this case or ask for advice by any means at all, including posting information on an internet website, chat room, or blog. With that, members of the jury, I'm going to release you back to the deliberation room for you to receive the paperwork for your employer, and we will see you at 9 a.m. this coming Monday, October 21st. I thank you for your sacrifice and your service. You all may be seated. Thank you. State, anything else we need to discuss?
Not from the state.
Defense. All right. Thank you all very much. We will see you at 9 a.m. Monday, October 21. We're off the record.
Well, fantastic. There you have it. We got the whole first day in. Start to finish. All of it. And it went pretty well. I mean, I know it's a court case, but just trust me. I've been to a few of them. That really clipped along. They went through a lot of witnesses, and not only did they go through a lot of witnesses, we had a lot of video that was actually interesting. The worst part is what I thought would be the best part, which was the opening statements. Not that they were bad, they were good, but just the microphone issue was bad, so we couldn't hear half of it on either side. All right. I don't know if I'll do this Monday or not. I'll have to think about it. I have to look at that. I have to look at the schedule next week. I have to talk to Yesenia. Get clearance from Yesenia. She's pretty tough. You never know. All right. Everybody behave yourselves. You know I'm not going to bail you out. Friday night. You get an Uber.